Outburst, a Todd Mills Mystery, Book 4. Author, R.D. Zimmerman. Publisher, Scribble Pub, Minneapolis, Minnesota, 1998. Narrator, Eric Ost. Chapter 36. 30 minutes later, thanks to the tip, Todd and Bradley were the only ones from the media standing there in the sultry summer air. No one else knew. Not yet, anyway. And they were right outside the main doors of the granite fortress of bureaucracy when Christopher Lewis Kinney came tramping out of City Hall, escorted by none other than his attorney and Todd's closest friend, Janice Gray. Oh, God, thought Todd, spying Janice. I don't want to be doing this. I really don't. But did he have a choice? Of course not. He had all of a few seconds to get what he needed, a soundbite from the accused, who was also now the liberated. To do that, to get Kinney to say something outrageous, something that would pop on television, Todd was going to have to be obnoxious, repulsively so. Todd took a deep breath and said, "Here they come, Bradley." Oh, yes, indeed," said the photographer, his camera on his shoulder, his eyes on the lens, and his finger on the trigger. "Chris! Janice!" called Todd, wiping the perspiration from his brow, then stepping quickly toward them, a stick mic in hand. "Over here!" The two of them turned their heads, as much in surprise as in shock. As soon as Chris saw the camera focused on him, he bowed his head. Janice, playing the good attorney, stepped in direct line of the lens. "Ah, shit," moaned Janice, stepping into the hot sunlight. "What the hell are you doing here, Todd? How did you find out already? Or is that an exceedingly dumb question?" "I'm sorry, Janice. I really don't want to be doing this." "Then don't." "The choice isn't mine." He took a deep breath, forced himself to ask, "Will you comment on your client's release?" "Knock it off, Todd. Just turn the camera off and leave us alone, okay?" As his stomach twisted into a knot, he said, "Sorry, I can't." "Don't be an asshole," she shouted, moving along and shaking her head in disgust. "You know what I've never told you, Todd? I hate the media, particularly television. You people are such bottom feeders." It stung, no doubt about it, but Todd pushed past it, saying, "Janice, I didn't ask you to represent him. For God's sake, I only asked you a few questions. It was your idea to go down and check on him to make sure She! You can refer to Chris as she. Got it?" "So how did you get Kinney out?" demanded Todd, keeping up with her. "What'd you have to do?" "Chris Kinney was released because the evidence against her was purely circumstantial. End of statement. Congratulations, Janice." "Eat shit, Todd. We both know I'm involved in this only because of you, and between you and me, and strictly off the record." She stopped, glanced at Bradley's camera, then stared right at Todd and raised her finger. "And I mean off the record. If you use any of this, I'll never speak to you again. So help me God. Got it?" He had no doubt she meant it too, and he turned to Bradley and said, "Turn the camera off." "Well," began Janice, "I didn't even have to make any protest. The judge tossed this one out on his own." "I see." "No, Todd, I don't think you do. I don't think you truly understand what's going on here." Janice then turned and shepherded Chris onward. Todd, in turn, shouted at Bradley to start filming again, then rushed after them. A mother and her daughter on the sidewalk scurried away. Someone else stopped and stared. A cop looked on from his squad car. Darting in front of them, Todd blurted, "Chris, I hear they let you go because of a lack of evidence. Does that mean you actually didn't kill Officer Mark Forrest?" As she walked, Janice shouted, "Shut up, Todd." "But what about your raincoat, Chris?" pressed Todd. "What about Forrest's blood on your raincoat?" "Stop it," Chris said. Don't say a thing," Janice advised, hurrying faster. Desperate not to lose her, the worst of his journalistic instincts kicked in, and he shouted, "Did you dress up for them both, Chris? Were both Dave Revell and Mark Forrest into drag queens? Is that what it was? Were you lovers with them?" Chris flinched as if someone had just hurled a stone at her. The next instant, she twisted out of Janice's tight grasp, turning on Todd with a vicious face. "I knew Dave Revell and I loved him, but I didn't hurt him, and I didn't hurt this faggot named Forrest either. Hell, I didn't even know him, she shouted. As for me, I'm not straight and I'm not gay. Do you understand? My name is Chris, with a K, and I'm queer. Very fucking queer. Stunned, Todd didn't move. Unfortunately, that was it. Exactly what he needed for the 6 o'clock. Are you happy now, Todd? Asked Janice, shaking her head. You're going to make all us deviants look really good on the news tonight, aren't you? Standing there, he watched them hurry away. Janice leading the way through the heat and across the street. He took a deep breath, mopped his brow, then turned to his photographer. Bradley, I think I need to have that tape. Do you mind? Hell no, he replied, popping it out of his Betacam and handing it over. Thanks, said Todd, most definitely wanting to be in control of it. I've got to talk to Rollins, so I'll meet you back at the station. God, he thought as he headed into City Hall. Sometimes he really hated this job, and himself. Gay Mysteries audiobooks. I think it is easy to hate a label, but a face humanizes the word. So this effort is twofold. To offer comfort to those like myself that your world didn't end because you don't fit into the view of acceptable society on both sides. And in hopes of helping those with family that are LGBTQ, that it doesn't mean we are aliens from the child they once knew. Reassure them so they can maybe be supportive at the same time, being true to their values.